Hi, I'm Todd Austin, and I'm a professor at University of Michigan and also one of the co-founders of Vegeta Labs, which creates a privacy-enhancing technology called TrustForge. In this short video, I want to talk about some of the risks that are being posed to end-to-end encryption and how privacy-enhancing technologies can help ease the tension between privacy of those encrypted channels and public safety. Let's jump into it. So first, I want to talk about some of the recent news surrounding end-to-end encryption, and in particular, the UK online safety bill, which threatens privacy for systems that use end-to-end encryption. This bill proposes laws that would, in some cases, force end-to-end encryption systems to backdoor those systems for the purpose of scanning the data for child safety, for example, child endangerment scans. As expected, privacy-oriented organizations like the Electronic Freedom Foundation have gotten pretty upset about these risks to end-to-end encryption privacy. And companies like Signal, which creates a messaging app that uses end-to-end encryption, said that if this law passes and we're forced to put a backdoor into our product, we're not going to let our product be used in the UK. And even companies that don't have end-to-end encryption in their products, like Meta's been talking about adding it to their Messenger app. Law enforcement and other agencies are encouraging them not to do that, citing the fact that it'll be harder to do in child endangerment scans on that data. So it's an interesting conundrum in that we want to support privacy, but we also want to support public safety at the same time. So well-meaning people on both sides of this issue are really at odds with each other. This video is going to look at how privacy-enhancing technologies can help ease that tension between those two sides. First, let's take a quick look at what is end-to-end encryption and why it has such tremendous privacy capabilities. Let's say you want to communicate with your friend. You type a message, you encrypt it with a key that you've shared with your friend, and then you send that up to the cloud for delivery to your friend's app. Now, in the cloud, that message is encrypted, and there is no key available to the cloud provider. They simply pass that encrypted message on to your friend, and then the key that you've shared with your friend, you can both look at that information. What's so powerful about that is nobody gets access to that message in the cloud. The cloud providers, the IT staff, the software vendors that make the app, they cannot see that message. If someone hacks into that system, the hackers cannot see that message. They just get to see the encrypted data. And this is really because strong encryption is really it's the one superpower in the world of security. If you strongly encrypt a piece of data, you can't get into that to see that data. So when people hack into that system, they don't get to see anything. It's really the height of privacy in today's marketplace. Well, in an effort to do child endangerment scanning and other public safety analysis of messages going through this, the UK online safety bill suggests the possibility of adding backdoors to these end-to-end encrypted systems. And then they're simply not end-to-end encrypted systems anymore. You're going to share a key with your friend. You're going to send a message. That's going to go up to the cloud. And then some mechanism, escrowed keys, two-key systems, et cetera, are going to produce a key in the cloud, which will decrypt that message. Then we're going to run some form of endangerment scans, child endangerment scans, et cetera, on that. And then if those pass, we're going to allow that message to go to your friend, where your friend can decrypt it under the key you've shared. The challenge here is that this is not an end-to-end encrypted system anymore. It's basically destroyed the end-to-end encrypted aspects of it. It is now a system that has a second key or a shared key that can now open that system up. Now, the challenges are many. If someone hacks into that system, they can get access to that data. They can get access to that key. And systems, it's very, very hard to stop hacking. It's pretty easy to stop someone from seeing an encrypted message. It's not easy to stop someone from seeing keys that are on a system. Systems are basically all hackable. If a judge says, show me what's in that message, if you have that key, you have to show what is in that message. And maybe the companies that hold those keys decide to do other kinds of scanning, like advertising scanning later on, without knowledge of the people sending those messages. So there can be basically creep in what analysis can be done to that over time. And the data owners, the person that encrypted that message, really have no capability to stop that. So backdoors and end-to-end encryption are highly problematic. And of course, if someone hacks in, they can easily get access to all this data. All right. So privacy-enhancing technologies can help mitigate these risks. You don't hear a lot about privacy-enhancing technologies from the security community because they're not really part of the security community. Security community is mostly trying to stop hacking. Privacy-enhancing technologies are really advanced forms of cryptography and crypto systems, and they come more from the cryptography community as well as the privacy community. What is a privacy enhancing system? It's an advanced crypto system or cryptography system that permits data owners to have some level of control over what can be done with their data. And essentially, in essence, it limits the degree of trust you have to put into the systems that operate on your data, their IT staff, people that hack into those systems, et cetera. Their crypto strength in that it doesn't take, you don't have to stop hacking to protect these pets. These pets are really based on cryptography or crypto systems. So in order to penetrate them, you need to guess very large keys, which is, generally not possible. So they're typically not vulnerable to traditional hacking, rogue programmers, supply chain attacks, malicious IT staff, et cetera. Examples of these technologies, which you may or may not have seen before, are examples include like differential privacy, which is a safe way to release information, doesn't reveal anything about an individual. Federated learning, a way to do training on many organizations' data, machine learning training on many organizations' data in a way where you don't have to share that data. Zero knowledge proofs, which are very relevant here, which allow you to prove something about data without revealing what that data is. And then very relevant here, secure computation. These are systems that actually compute directly on encrypted data without keys being available to software, without decrypted data being available to software. And they do that to preserve confidentiality of the data, but also some systems can be tamper-proof as well and really limit the code you can run on those. So if you bring a pet into this system where you want to do child endangerment scanning, you encrypt the message, you send it up to the cloud. Whoever encrypted that message is going to provide some permission to the cloud provider to run that specific scan. And that's going to use a technology called encrypted computation. There is no key available to software on the system with these pets. And so if someone hacks in, all they get to see is encrypted data. A second capability called safe data release is going to take the final result of that endangerment scan and release just a single bit of information. Is this safe? And these technologies exist today. I'm going to show you various technologies that can do this in a safe manner. And then the message goes on to your friend and they get to decrypt. Now, if someone hacks into there, if the IT staff goes rogue, if a programmer decides they want to peek into this, none of them can see that information because there's only encrypted data on that system. The computation is being done directly to the encrypted data. These are very powerful technologies that specifically try to provide analysis of encrypted data without the risks associated with backdooring the data. So that attacker doesn't get to see any information. There's a variety of technologies that can do this. I want to talk about some today. I'm involved with a startup that created a technology called sequestered encryption, which basically lets hardware technologies do these privatized analysis and computation and separates all the decrypted data and keys from software using a hardware wall. This can do both the encrypted computation and also the safe data release, and I've got a demo in this video of it doing that. Homomorphic encryption is an advanced cryptography system which allows encrypted computation for data that is not decrypted. Multi-party computation is an advanced distributed computing system where we basically bust up data into little parts and everybody gets to compute on their little part, but nobody can see what the full information is until we recollect it with a trusted party. And this is also a form of encrypted computation. Now, besides encrypted computation, you need the ability to release information that says, this message is safe, we can forward it on. And that's where zero knowledge proofs, which are not a secure computation capability, but they can really step in here. There's another pet technology that can really allow this safe data release. So what zero knowledge proofs are is they can prove information over data that cannot be seen. And then I would just add a note. There's also another community called the confidential computing community, which uses hardware technologies like trusted execution environments like Intel SGX or AMD SEV. And I would just point out that these are not pet technologies. These are not cryptographically secure. These are very advanced, very powerful anti-hacking technologies, but they're generally hackable. Pretty much the security community has pretty much shown that all these technologies can be hackable. So it's really important to separate the confidential computing technologies, which are generally hackable, from the pet technologies, which are advanced cryptography, advanced crypto systems. These are much, much more difficult to hack. All right, so let's take a look at a short demo where I'm going to do content scanning over encrypted data with TrustForge Azure, demonstrating how end-to-end encryption can do safe scanning that is limited to what is allowed by the person that encrypted the original message. Let's take a look at that. I'm logged into a Microsoft Azure server, and that can run our TrustForge Enclave. And I built this little demo, and essentially this is my proxy demo for child endangerment scanning. Essentially, I'm scanning information in the textual information in the encrypted data, and I'm basically not allowing the word kumquat in my data. So you can talk about any fruit you want on this system, but you won't talk about kumquats. Why kumquats? I mean, come on, give me a break. You're eating baby oranges when you eat a kumquat. So no kumquat discussion allowed in this system. So I'm in this algorithm, which I wrote with ChatGPT. I'm just scanning this encrypted data. This computation is encrypted for occurrences of the word kumquat. And then at the end of that scan, the way TrustForge works is you can't release any information unless you get what's called a data grant. That comes from the data owner. It's encrypted by the data owner. It's part of what's called the contract to allow us to access that data. And that permits me only to run an algorithm that scans for the word kumquat in the data. And if I do that scan, then I'm allowed to see just that one bit result, which is the word kumquat somewhere at least one time in this message. And so then I can, and then what I did is I had ChatGPT write a poem about apricots, and I had ChatGPT write a poem about kumquats, and then I encrypted that under the ciphers that this particular system used. And now I'm going to run these encrypted scans. So the first thing it's going to do is open the contract. It's going to allow access to the hardware and the ability to scan for that kumquat. And you can see when it was accessing the poem about apricots, the scan indicated that we did not find that word. When it opened the poem about kumquats, it said, yes, we did that find. Now, in both cases, only a single bit of information is released. That's all that's released. Not where the word is or how many times it occurs, just false. No word, no occurrence of that word in the poem about apricots. True, there was at least one, maybe more occurrences of the word kumquat in the poem about kumquats. And again, this is occurring on the encrypted data. And then just to show you, I'm putting out the first fragment of information that we're comparing against in the scan. And you can see it's just pure random data. It's encrypted on what's called a semantically secure high entropy cipher. So it looks like pure random data all the time. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm a rogue programmer, and I decided, hey, you know what? What I really hate is apricots. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change this piece of code. And and here's the risk with end-to-end encryption with backdoors. I'm going to change this code. Now I want to find out who's talking about apricots here. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to run my demo again. It's going to rebuild my scanner. And then I'm going to run my demo, open the contract, and they'll notice what it says here. It says, I ran your computation, but I can't show you the results because this is not the approved computation. And I'll just say for the technical folks out there, what is going on in the background here is the SE Enclave is performing what's called a data flow hash. It's looking at the data flow used to create that particular variable. It's hashing that data flow to a signature that is, pretty mostly unique, to a high cryptographic probabilities for that particular piece of computation. If I change the computation, I change the signature, I can't release that data. I can't release the data. I can only release the data on the computation we agreed on. And that data grant, which is that hash signature, comes from the data provider encrypted under their key. So I can't fabricate that at all. So it's a really powerful technology that gives control back to the data. I'll say to the non-technical community out there, trying to find a piece of code that could release this information is as hard as Bitcoin mining, and actually a lot harder, because Bitcoin mining is what's called a partial preimage attack. This is a full preimage attack. So we all know how hard Bitcoin mining is. It's a lot harder to do, to find a piece of code that pass this test. So what that means is now we can agree on what can be done with this data, and to violate that agreement, you need to do something that's millions of times harder than Bitcoin mining. All right. And then just to show you, this is really sensitive. So I changed the keyword there. Now I'm going to come down and I'm going to do one more change. I'm just going to do a really tiny little code change here, something that's hard to see. I'm going to change the order of the operands to this comparison, and I'm going to run it. Oops, I'm going to run it one more time. All right. And again, it's going to say, this is not the code we agreed upon. This is not the code. You cannot see this result. And that is a cryptographic guarantee, because the hardware won't release anything that doesn't have a matching hash. And then finally, I'm going to undo all my changes. I'm going to undo all those changes. So I'm back to the original code that just scans for the word kumquat. And if I run that, again, I'll now produce the computation that was approved. I'll say, oh, there's no occurrence of kumquat in the apricot poem, and there is occurrence of kumquat in the kumquat poem. So again, what's really beneficial about these PET technologies, in particular the secure computation technologies, is these cryptographic controls that don't let you see any data, and also can provide very strong controls over what code can be run and what results can be seen. Those controls can limit, without any creep in the future, what particular information can be seen inside end-to-end encrypted. So I would argue that with technologies like this, it is possible to preserve privacy, as well as give law enforcement and government agencies the ability to look inside of encrypted encrypted messages to find child endangerment activities. The mission to do this would be for everyone to decide what is suitable child endangerment scanning, then codify that, create the permissions in a cryptographic framework, and then that is the only thing that is allowed to be done. All right, so that was a demo of safe scanning. I just want to close with one slide where I can point you at information to learn a little bit more. To learn more about me, you can come to my LinkedIn page. To learn more about the UK Online Safety Bill, I recommend going and look at the Wikipedia page. It covers the basics of the bill, as well as the controversies that have arisen around it. To learn more about PET technologies, please follow this link to a class that I taught last semester at University of Michigan on PET technologies. All the slides are still up there. There's some introductory lectures, as well as deep dives on various PET technologies. Great place to start learning about that and the people associated with those technologies. And if you'd like to learn more about TrustForge Secure Computation, which was a technology from my startup that I used in the demo of this video, please go to agillabs.com. Thank you so much. Take care.